My name is Judy O'Gala, and I am Will County board member for District 1, which takes in the area of Peotone H.S, University Park, and Creek. My other companion, John Howard, if you stand and raise your hand, everyone. He is a new... John is also sponsoring this with me today. He's newly elected to the Kankakee County Board. Today also we have the honor of having the Will County Farm Bureau and Cook County Farm Bureau hosting this with us. And from the Will County Farm Bureau, we have the President, Tom Nugent. We have the Vice President, Glenn Binder. And we have Farm Bureau officials, Roger Bettenhausen and Mary Ann Dovich. From the Cook County Farm Bureau, we have Vanna Heinzel. And there's one more person out there. Kathy? Kristen. Kristen, is she? Kristen, I don't see her. Oh, there she is. Kristen is our intern for the Will County Farm Bureau. She is in training to be a Farm Bureau manager, so it's a great time for her to come in during this candidates forum so she gets to be exposed to a little bit of that. I would also like to begin right now, and we have the pleasure of having the officers from the Peotone High School FFA to present the flags. To allow us to use their auditorium. I want to thank the principal, Ms. Oliver. I don't know if she's out here anywhere. But also I want to thank the kids. We have a lot of kids from the school districts out here. So we have representatives from Peotone High School. You guys want to stand and raise your hands? We have one representative from Beecher High School, that's Lexi. She's in the back, she's our timekeeper. And we have two young gentlemen from Peotone High School, they're right up here in front. I think it's so important for our youth today to be recognized by the candidates here who are running for office, because many of them will be voting. I know my daughter just got registered and she will be voting in this primary election, and there may be several others. So we need to think about the future and what it holds. And in part of that, our community is very agricultural, and we're very proud of that. And so I have Miss Rebecca James, and she's going to give us a few words on the importance of agriculture to the youth today. Rebecca?
I'm a junior classman, 3-year FFA member at Peotone High School, and an 8-year member of Prairie 4-H Club. I'm privileged to be able to share with you today after being presented with the question, Becca, how is agriculture important to you? At first, I immediately thought, but I'm not a farmer growing crops. growing crops, or raising hundreds of head of livestock? After I seriously thought about this question, though, I realized just how agriculture has impacted my life. Nearly 15 years ago, after always having lived in the suburbs, my family transplanted to the rural town of Peotone. We settled on 5 acres with a small farmhouse and a few barns. We started our new country life with just a few chickens and a dog. When my mom started working at the neighbor's farm, I would spend countless hours there, just dreaming, until we finally were able to get our own horses, which I had wanted my whole life. With our horses came new friends. New friends introduced us to 4-H, and 4-H eventually led me into many new projects like raising ducks and poultry meat pens. I quickly learned that it took daily responsibility and lots of hard work to care for the animals on my farm. I also learned that responsibility and hard work could be extremely rewarding. My farm life was growing, and maybe I didn't realize it then, but my life was growing into the world of agriculture. As I was about to enter high school, it was my 4-H club leader that suggested I look into the ag program, an FFA chapter here at Peotone High School. I am so grateful she did, and I'm very thankful for the opportunities I've been given through both of these agricultural organizations. FFA career development events, for example, have taught me how to set goals and work hard to achieve them. Leadership seminars have helped me become successful in holding offices such as secretary and president of my 4-H club. The importance of teamwork is a great lesson I've learned while being captain of my 4-H equestrian drill team. Reason's division of livestock and horse judging contests and parliamentary procedure contests challenged me and pushed me outside my comfort zone to help gain confidence and public speaking ability. And numerous community service opportunities have been rewarding and build character. Yes, it's because of agricultural programs like the 4-H and FFA that I have developed lifelong skills which have changed my life. More important than all these clubs and events are the wonderful people I have met. My rural community is close-knit and full of the most remarkable citizens. Many, if not most, are based in agriculture. From the local farmers to the Farm Bureau members, high school ag teachers and advisors, and club leaders, all are such hard-working, knowledgeable, kind, and helpful, and genuine people. They inspire me every day. I have learned so much from them, as well as the ag classes I attended in school. Although a huge part, most people think of ag industries as just farmers harvesting crops and dairies milking cows. I've learned that there are so many branches, and the opportunities are endless. Ag isn't one of those classes where I think, when am I ever going to have to use this? But rather, when can I use this? Because of the ag program at Peotone High School and my community, I know that my future will be in the agricultural industry. It is my passion. So my answer to the question, how is agriculture important to me? It has changed my life, and I love everything about it. From the people in the ag community, to events, to job opportunities, everything. Agriculture is the heart of America. And as you all may know, 2013 has been declared the year of the farmer. I feel every year should celebrate farmers and agriculture. Thank you.
Those are some very important words that were from her heart and part of what makes FFA so great. The kids who come in don't speak publicly, they're not used to leadership roles, but part of being involved with the FFA, they travel the whole state, they do many different things, and they develop the skills. So she's able to put together her own speech and come up here and speak before you. So that's one of the wonderful things we love about the FFA program here at Peotone High School. So before I take up any more time, I'm going to introduce a new friend of mine. I met her a couple of months ago. Her name is Jacinda Beeson, and she lives in Chicago, but she grew up in Kankakee. And her dad is John Howard, and her parents lived on a farm. So we have so many things in common. And one of the things I found in a forum that John Howard had down in Hopkins Park was that she is such a tremendous moderator. So I asked her if she would come here today and moderate for us. And so I'm going to turn the program over to Ms. Jacinda Beeson. to be a little bit loud. I'm going to have my phone up here so I can track of the time. We don't want to go over time. For the candidates and for your constituents, we are not here to attack anyone. We are here to learn about the candidates who are running for the 2nd Congressional District. And so with that being said, we want to be respectful. The questions have already been posed. We may have questions from the audience. We may not have time to do that. Each candidate will have 1.5 minutes to give a brief introduction, and then you'll have 1.5 minutes to answer questions. Once the questions have been answered, we've gone through all the questions, you'll have 1.5 minutes to kind of do a summary. In addition to that, we want to have some fun, so we have invited our young people here, and they have questions for you too, because they will be voting. A lot of these young people here will be voting for you. And so how you present yourself, how you respect this panel, this audience, and me as the moderator will be a reflection of who they want to vote for. So please keep that in mind, be aware of your time. We will have a little fun round robin time, so they'll be here to ask those questions. Our timekeeper will be Jack, and he will let us know. With the yellow will mean that you have 30 seconds left. And when you see him hold up the red, please stop. And I will stop you. So we will take care to move on. We have 12 representatives here today, so we want to be really respectful of time and the weather. When we were in Hopkins Park, it snowed, so we want to be conscious of that and give people an opportunity to hear everything that you have to say. So with that being said, I'm speaking. It's very appropriate that Rebecca talked about agriculture because that's how we're going to begin. Each candidate will have, the first 3 candidates will answer the same question. So question 1 will go to the first 3 candidates. Question 2 will go to the next 3 candidates. They will be different questions. You will not be able to go back to those questions. All right, does everyone understand?
Yes.
We're going to start to my right. And there are microphones on your table, so if you just speak up, you can stand if you want to answer the question, but you will be able to be heard in the back. So we ask the audience not to do a lot of mumbling. All right, ready to begin? Yes, you may start with your introduction.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Very happy to be here. Thank the Farm Bureau for inviting me. My name is Dr. Peotone H.S. and I'm running to be your next congressman. I know that without you, without the farmers, we will all starve to death. And so I know that this is a very critical part of your livelihood. This is your prosperity. You want to pass it down to your children. I grew up not too far from here. I attended the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign, where I received a Bachelor of Science degree in Aeronautical and Astronautical Engineering. Went to Governor States in the 80s and received a Master's of Business Administration in business. And then following after that, recently I completed a Doctor of Practical Theology from Master's Graduate School of Divinity in Evansville, Indiana. I am here to listen to you all. I know that we won't all agree all the time, but I believe that we can negotiate. We can talk to one another and find out how we can all win. There's so many issues that is facing the district right now. And one of the most important one is the lack of jobs in the south side of the city, in the south suburban areas of the city. There is the issue of the farm subsidy that is facing the farmers in this district. Those are very critical issues that we need to discuss. I am in favor of extending that farm bill to make sure that when you guys cannot control what is going on with farming, that you are well compensated for it, because without that, the prices will skyrocket. We will not be able to afford to buy food. This is very important. And so I'm here to listen to you all and hear what you want to tell me about how I can best represent you in Congress. Again, my name is Dr. Peotone H.S. running for U.S. Congress. Thank you very much.
Just a reminder, I'm sorry, the lights will flicker as well when you have 30 seconds left, so hold that up.
My name is Paul McKinley. I'm a father, been married
married, and I'm married to God. I have 2 children. I have a daughter. My daughter has 3 children. She's married. My son, he has 2 children. He's married. I'm an ex-offender. And I'm trying to prevent a next offender. Went to the penitentiary when I was a young man. When I came out, I was a young man. And I changed my life. When I went to the penitentiary, we learned street repentance. Street repentance means that you must go back to society and change those individuals in the community that you live in so that they can get on the straight and narrow. That was my choice, and that was my destiny. Now that I've been on the streets since 1997, I've been arrested more times for doing right than I ever was arrested for doing wrong. I've been arrested so many times for protesting almost every politician, from the president to the governor to both mayors, Mayor Daley and Ronnie Manuel. I don't pretend that I know everything about the farming community. But my father was from Mobile, Alabama, and he was raised on the farm. I even have what they call a country slang. They call it country cool. And he taught me one thing. He said, if they don't grow it, you don't eat it. If they don't raise it, you don't eat it. He even pointed out to Willie Nelson. When Willie Nelson tried to bail out some farmers that was having a hard time. I'm very familiar with the farming culture, and I'm very sympathetic. But you don't need sympathy. You need somebody that's going to go out there and fight for you. You need somebody that's going to come and listen to you. That's what you're not going to get.
Thank you, Kenneth.
I want to thank all of you for being here today and giving me this opportunity. My name is Larry Pickens, and I am here because I want to earn your vote and support. I come from Chicago. I'm urban in the sense that that has primarily been my experience, but I am here because I'm interested in understanding the issues that you have in this area of the district. Because my commitment is to be a representative for all of the people of the 2nd Congressional District. And it's with that in mind that I am here today so that I can learn from you what it is that I can do to advocate for your interests in Congress. I come as one who is open. I'm not a career politician, and I understand that it takes a commitment to work together in order to make things happen in Congress, and I'm committed to that. I'm an ordained minister in the United Methodist Church. I'm also a practicing attorney in the state of Illinois. I come with a myriad of experiences that help me understand the dynamics of the needs that many of our communities have, including the community here in Peotone and areas around here. So I stand with you in the effort to address your economic concerns, your concerns for the well-being of this community, and the ways in which we work together in order to promote this part of the 2nd Congressional District and the lives of our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My name is Anthony Delphin Williams, candidate for Congress, 2nd Congressional District Democrat. I'm an adopted son of the Peotone community. I stood with the STAND organization, George Oxenford, Anthony Race, Mr. Jim Bedine, against a horrific evil against this community, the building of the 3rd Act. We stand here on God's green earth. Some of the richest soil in America is right here. For 12 years I stood with with this community against the airport. There are people in this race who are sprouting the same rhetoric that the former congressman sprouted. Let's build an airport. It will never happen. If you all allow me to serve in Congress, I want to hear your concerns for partnership with you in terms of how this area can become the green job capital of the world. So I stand before you as your servant. I've stood for 12 years, and I will stand with you if you allow me to serve in Congress.
I'm Cliff Eagleton, your candidate for Congress, and I'd like to detract from my speech for just a moment to commend that speech of the young lady. I was in the Future Farmers of America, and I went to an agricultural program at Jersey Community High School, where in Jersey County, where I was born and raised. And it was one of the best programs that I've ever gone through as far as teaching me the basic skills of managing my house and raising a garden and those things that all people need to learn as they become adults. I would like to say that I am second on the ballot. Contrary to what some of the media had claimed, furthermore, I'm the father of 4 wonderful boys and a fantastic wife. I was born in a farmhouse, and I was raised raised in a farm community, and I was raised on a farm, and excuse me, I'm not too expensive.
You will have an opportunity for a closing if you like, so we just want to make sure that we stay on target because we have so many candidates. Thank you.
Yeah, I raised in corn.
Thank you, candidate. So we want to be able to move on, so you'll be able to have a closing.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. I do want to thank you, Gal, for having this great event here, and Rebecca, I don't see her here now, but they gave a great speech. My name is Dr. Eric Wallace. I'm the other Republican up here. There's only 2 of us right now. I've been in the Republican Party for the past 9 years. I've served on a number of different levels. I started the African American Republican Council a number of years ago. I was a member of the National Black Republican Association, where I served as their chaplain when they first started. I ran for state senate in 2006 against Maggie Claudia from the 19th district in Mattison. You got to say it right, Mattison, Illinois. I also circulated petitions for U.S. Senate in 2009. Most recently, I ran as a delegate for Rick Santorum and actually helped organize the slate for the 1st Congressional District and the 2nd Congressional District. And I've also helped with the RNC and the state party outreach. So for the past 5 years, my wife and I have been challenging the church in general, and the African American church in particular, to stand where we say we believe. Our theme is rise from the beginning. It's time for the 2nd Congressional District to rise from the beginning. The acronym RISE stands for Responsible Government, Individual Liberty and Fidelity, Strong Family Values, and Economic Empowerment. Hopefully during this time period, I'll get a chance to unpack some of that for you. My hope is that you will hear what I have to say and decide to go out and vote for me Monday. Early voting, Monday.
Thank you.
Hello, my name is John Blythe. You can find out more about me at www.blytheamerica.com. That's BLYTH.com. And I'm here today to listen to your needs and concerns here in the Peotone greater area. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's great to see so many of you here. I'm Debbie Halverson. I served this area for quite some time. I started out as Cree Township clerk, then I went to become state senator for 12 years and became the first Senate majority leader, a female, to serve in that position. And we need strong leadership. I then went on to serve as your congresswoman for 2 years and spent a lot of time with all of you. It's a funny thing that when you go to Congress, it's not an easy spot to be, one of 435. And I was blessed to serve as my class's president when I was there. So when you go there and you're spending time there, you've got to learn your way around. So we need somebody that's going to go back, that can hit the ground running. Somebody that already knows how to speak in committee. And I was blessed to serve on the Agriculture Committee. So we need somebody that not only understands agriculture, and as you all know, we didn't always agree on everything, but I want to also go back to be that voice of reason. And I'm being criticized a lot, but at least my name ID is pretty high, because you've seen my face on the TV probably every 5 minutes. Maybe not a very good picture. So I plan on spending the rest of this afternoon answering your questions and talking about the things that we need to continue to do together. I'm from Will County. My kids went to Peotone High School. We need somebody that understands the entire district. As you know, I ran in the primary against Jesse Jackson Jr. I fought him every step of the way to do things for this community.
Thank you.
Good afternoon. It is truly a pleasure to be here. My name is Joyce Washington, and I'm running for the 2nd Congressional District Congresswoman. And I've been here before, and it's just good to talk to people here in this area because this district is very, very wide. And I think it's important that we get to know you as well as you get to know us. You got to evaluate all of us. The fabric of the farm is part of me. My dad was an automobile mechanic, but before that, he lived and grew up on a farm, which of course we had to also. Chickens and cows and goats, and as I listened to the speech and I remembered about 4-H and riding around and really being involved, and as I think about my own career and what she said, as I started off being a nurse, and then I went, one of my first jobs was at Walter Reed in Washington, D.C. As you know, working with veterans. My father was a veteran, working with those veterans and understanding what they stand for, and the sacrifice was really, really important. I then went on and got my master's degree and started running hospitals and getting involved in that side of the business. And then I've had my own small business, successful business for the last 8 years. So I've had a lot of experience. I'm not a full-time politician. What I want to do, though, is take that business experience that I have. I've already, I know how to create budgets. I know how to read them. I know how to work with large groups of people. And I have scuffled to get from a nurse to an administrator.
Thank you, Kennedy Washington.
Thank you. Give up to fight for you. So thank you for playing.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Patrick Brutus. I'm running for your support. I'm running for your endorsement. I'm running for your vote. What makes me different from the rest of these other candidates, who all might be some nice people. They might be great on the golf course. I don't know. But in a time like this, the challenges we face in this district, my 17 years of public sector experience, 11 with IDOT, 8 with highways, 3 with aeronautics, and 6.5 with the city of Chicago. We actually need somebody who knows how to work, knows the programs, has actually led projects that have created jobs, stimulated the economy, and actually improved the quality of life for our people in the district. Now, I'm just like you. I'm not a professional politician, so I'm not going to sit here and tell you that I was raised on a farm and milked a cow. I don't believe that all of us who live in Peotone and the surrounding areas, we're not all farmers. But I'm from University Park. I spent 30 years of my life out there, and what I do know is the values that we learn. Talking to people straight is what you appreciate. So just like everybody else here, I'm here to hear your issues. I want to learn from you so I can figure out how best to help. And can we just give Judy a round of applause and the young girl who actually gave us a speech. I think it's encouraging when you see young people step up and do something
Thank
great.
you. And with that,
good afternoon, everyone. My name is Anthony Beal, and I am the most qualified candidate in this race at this particular time. I have 14 years of experience as alderman of the city of Chicago's 9th Ward. I was born and raised in the 9th Ward. I'm former chairman of the Historic Landmarks Committee in the city of Chicago, also former chairman of the Police and Fire Committee. And I'm the current chairman of the Transportation Committee. And we know all money flows through transportation. So I have the dedication, the experience, and the know-how to represent the entire district from one end to the other. I'm not going to sit here and tell you I know everything about agriculture because I don't. But what I will tell you is I'm a fast learner and I will hit the ground running because I've done that for the past 14 years by delivering goods and services to my community. I've built more senior housing in my ward. I've built more jobs in my ward. I've created more jobs than anybody else in the city of Chicago. I want to help you help us. And that's what we're here to do. Again, I don't know everything that needs to know about agriculture, but however, when you look at Illinois being second in corn production, 53% is being exported, 25% is used for ethanol, 15% is for processing and other food, and 7% is used in animal feed. In Illinois, has 76,000 farms. We must protect it. And out of that 76,000, 80% of Illinois is farmland. We have to protect our farmland. But most importantly, the one thing that I would like to address more than anything else is we have to protect you all from the federal government because you all are under attack and we must have somebody that's strong, that's in order to make sure they do not jeopardize our farms and we help you all grow because if you all grow, everyone else grows along with it. So I am your person.
Stay close to my notes and I stay within the time. My name is Fatima Mohammed, Dr. Hip Hop. I was born in Harvey, raised in Markham. I made childhood road trips to my mother's family farm in Arkansas, so I kind of remember that. When I was a manager at University Park's public access cable TV station, I worked with high schoolers in the Young Broadcasters Club. And we came to Cremoni High School a couple of times. When I worked at Sullivan House Alternative High School in South Chicago, I re-enrolled high school dropouts and coordinated youth development programs that included jobs training, skit writing and performance, visual arts, and even gardening during the summer work programs. My only official political experience was 20 years ago when I helped my cousin, she's now Judge Patricia Banks. Academia, let me tell you, especially at Chicago State University, has been the ultimate preparation for real world politics. As a researcher with a PhD in radio, TV, film, communications, I have practiced at promoting and defending issues that matter. My dissertation topic 10 years ago was hip-hop culture's impact on young black women's identity. So I had to sell that to my advisors had been teaching since I was born, so that was a hard sell. And I defended it successfully, earned my PhD from Northwestern University in 2003. Muhammad is the most common name in the world, and so I do feel comfortable everywhere. And I want to say this, I totally agree. This is the closest an airplane should get to the Peotone area.
Thank you, Candidate Muhammad. Thank you. We want to remind the candidates to please pay attention to Jack. You'll be holding up high that yellow sign. Can you hold that up high?
Okay.
That is going to let you know you have 30 seconds. And then on the red, you will be concluding your answer to the question. Thank you. All right. Let's begin. And I will be referring to each of you as candidate. It is no disrespect if you currently hold the title, but it's just to give us all equal playing ground. I hope that's okay with everyone. It's not we'll begin with candidate Victor. The question is, and it will be for the first three candidates, so candidate McKinney and candidate Pickens. Okay. Ethanol blended gasoline is used across the country and has helped improve air quality and domestic energy security. Will you work to support the continued use of ethanol-blended fuel and the requirement that unleaded gasoline contain ethanol? You have 1 minute and 30.
Thank you very much for that question. I would like to commend the young lady that came and talk about how farming had improved palate. I am in support of ethanol being added to gasoline. As a matter of fact, the more we can move from fossil fuel into a green type of fuel with less emission, the better it is for all of us, the better it is for the world that we live in. Right now, the ozone layer is being depleted because of the emission of carbon from gasoline, from the natural gasoline that we're importing from Middle East. And so adding ethanol or even going to complete I would support and fund research and fund farmers to plant more corn and wheat to actually produce fuel that is not fossil fuel. So I'm in complete support of that. I will go to Congress and fight on your behalf, on the farmers' behalf, and fight on behalf of the environment, and continue with what Al Gore had done before he left office to make sure that we have green fuel, green energy. Thank you.
Not only do I support the ethanol being blended with the gasoline, I think that we need to sit down and bring, just like we can put a man on the moon. We can send a man, I just seen they sent a man to another planet. I mean, sent a ship to another planet. I know that they can sit down and look at ethanol and all the other green products that you grow and convert it into a green or more green fuel for our community. It is not only the things that y'all have that we need. We need to sit down with the farmers, period. Because what you know, we don't know. And what you think we know, you already know. So I do think that the best way to work this out, what you're doing, is to set up a panel, set up a committee, directly from Washington, D.C., to come down and hear your concerns about it. And you are down to hear directly with Washington, D.C. That's what you have to have. The clout, heavy clout, Chicago get everything they want, because when they talk Washington here, in order for this town and in order for the farmers to get exactly what they need to have that ear. I'm that ear to listen to you. Thank you very much.
I do support the use of ethanol and gasoline, and I support federal subsidies for the use of ethanol. It's a significant energy alternative to fossil fuels, and because it provides a significant opportunity for us to move into cleaner energy in our nation, I think that for that reason alone, I would support it. But I also think that it's an industry that can be expanded to a great extent. When I look at what countries like Brazil are doing with respect to ethanol, I marvel at what opportunity we have in this country. But because of the lobby that exists for the oil industry, it minimizes the impact that ethanol and other clean fuels have upon this country. So I would be an advocate for the expansion of the use of ethanol in our country, and I think that that's something that we can work on together as we expand the opportunities within this district and our country.
Thank you. The next question. U.S. foreign policy provides needed national food security, supporting both stable food production and providing for the basic nutritional needs of American families. It also addresses the nation's land conservation and water quality goals. Will you support a 5-year farm bill this year? And this question will begin with candidate Anthony Williams.
Yes, I will support the extension of the 5-year farm bill. But I think to this community, you are very clear. Politics of land, politics of food, As I begin to reflect on that, I said it's just amazing politics is involved in land and also in food. This area is the solution in terms of helping to feed the world. I want to be able to continue to support this area if you allow me to serve in Congress. Because here, windmills, solar, becoming the green job capital of the world. So I do support that. But I also want to say to the audience, of course, to understand one thing as you look in terms of supporting who you want for Congress. There's one thing that keeps popping up, this whole politics of food, this whole politics of land. This I think will support.
Thank you. Candidate Clifford, you go to?
Yes, I would support an extension, most definitely. We have to have a farming system that has guaranteed supports for, in case of drought, in case of floods, whatever. But I would think that we need to look at who is benefiting by this farm bill. There are huge conglomerates, huge farming industries that are taking away from the small family farmer. And my campaign, my goal is to develop and strengthen the small family farmer and to phase out these huge plantation type farming enterprises. The concentration of wealth, the concentration of economic power is corrupting our political system, and it is unhealthy for our democracy. And if I have an opportunity to represent you, I will fight for the small farmer. I will fight for the small businessman. I will fight for the small manufacturer and protect their interests for the growth and development of our nation.
A little different. I think we need a farm bill, but I'd like to see us start thinking a little bit outside the box about how we do things. One of them, I've been looking at the Heritage Foundations. They talk about the crop insurance. But there may be, well, let me go back, subsidies. I talked to a few farmers when I was out here not too long ago. One of my friends drove me around and talked to some of the people who farm. Asked the question, would you be willing to give up subsidies if got rid of some of the rules and regulations that the federal government puts on you? And actually a number of them say yes. So we may need to start looking at some things a little bit differently. That if you don't want the subsidies, not taking the subsidies, but being allowed to farm your land the way you want to farm your land. And then the other part is when it comes to crop insurance, one of the things that the Heritage Foundation was talking about was allowing farmers to have savings accounts. So when you have a good year, you can put money into the bank, it's not taxed. And you can put it aside, and it doesn't get taxed until you take it out and use it. So at times when you're not making the kind of money you normally make from your crop, you have money that's been set aside, that's not been taxed. So I'm just trying to look at things outside the box. Of course, we need, obviously, to make sure that family farms are viable, they're sustainable. Sometimes giving subsidies that have strings attached from the federal government may not always be the best route to go.
Thank you. The next question, we will begin with candidate Blunt. The question is, if you are elected, what committees would you like to serve on? And would you create an agriculture advisory committee? And keep in mind, you do not have to use your entire minute.
Sure, agricultural committee good. I'm sure there's a number of other good committees as well. What was
the question is, what committees would you like to serve on, and would you create an agriculture advisory committee?
If I did though, it would be in conjunction, the advisory committee would be in conjunction with how we could better the second district for
food from Kankakee and Will County in Chicago. Maybe we can partner with the weekend farmers market and things like that, and how we could maybe have a senior citizen program that allows the seniors to do a little more farming out here in some type of community way. And the food's coming back into Chicago because the south side is a huge food desert. That would be a good thing on the advisory committee. And then again, with the youth also transforming agriculture products into the city, showing them how to do it and showing them all the good things about agriculture, 65% GDP. So I'd be for that type of advisory committee. Thank you.
Candidate Halverson, what committees would you like to serve on if elected, and would you start an agricultural advisory?
First of all, the committee I would ask to be on is transportation. Transportation is a committee that you can only be on one committee. However, if I were able to get a waiver, I would love to be on agriculture again. I served on it, and many of you in this room were on my advisory committee that I had, and I would love to reinstate that because that's where I got all my knowledge. Because one thing that you need to know as a member of Congress, you don't have all the ideas, you don't have all the knowledge. I had advisory committees on every issue, and that's what made me the congressperson I was. So I look forward on going back to Congress, not only having all the ideas, getting on the committees, but having my advisory committees back, and I have all the lists of names. I look forward to calling you all back up and having the advisory committees back.
Thank you. Same question.
I'm Joyce Washington. There is a health and education advisory committee. I would like to be on that one. One, my background lends itself to that, and one, if I have to think about the farming industry and the food and all the health-related issues that have to do with what you all are doing every day. I know we still have our farm, and my brother farms in, and there's so many issues of trying to keep the small farm along with all the other corporate farms and all the other things that we have to deal with. And so I think that committee would be great as we look at what are all the food and healthcare issues. I also think, I also think the agricultural committee would be great too. And I would work very hard to have it because I think the two play very well together. I'm always very cognizant and very much for getting ideas from the people who are closest to the issue. And you all are the ones that are close. You know what we need to do at the state and federal level. And I would certainly have that committee to get that information and have you all be involved. You have to have the information and be prepared. And we have to be prepared to do. We represent you, so we need to know what your issues are. Thank you.
Thank you. And our final question regarding agriculture will begin with candidate Lewis. The question is, do you support normalized trade and diplomatic relations with Cuba? And your time will begin.
Do I support Cuba?
Do you support normalized trade and diplomatic relations with Cuba?
I think to the extent that whatever supports our agriculture industry, wherever we can find trade partners that provide an economic benefit to our farming community, then the answer would be yes. If that would be a result of having a relationship with Cuba in that sense, then I would support it. If that is not what you all want, then I would not support it, because as Congressman, my job is to do what you send me to Washington to do for you. And that's my answer.
Thank you. Candidate Anthony Beal.
First of all, you all are farming to make your life better and to help put food on the table for everyone else. If we can help you all sell your goods, not only in Illinois, but across the country and outside the country, I think we need to do that. Again, when you look at 53% of corn that is exported, we need to grow that. We need to make sure that we can continue to export in order to grow. Because right now, the problem with our country is that nobody wants to do business with us. They want us to buy their goods but they don't want to buy our goods. We have to reverse that. We have to make sure that we have equal partners across the country. Fair trade is more important than anything else. Right now, over 1,000 farmers a year are getting out of the business. We have to stop that. And the ones that are leaving, where's the job training to help them with other careers? We don't have anything in place for that. So we have to stop that trend. 1,000 farmers a year is absurd because they're not making profits. So if we can help grow to where you can export to other countries so we can keep those farmers farming, we need to do that. And lastly, right now we are not keeping up with the demand of organic goods. More people are being put out of it. The demand for organic goods is growing every single year. However, it takes you 3 years to get the soil ready for that. And the government should subsidize you for those 3 years until that soil is ready so you can start doing organic farming.
Thank you.
Yeah, Fatima Muhammad, Dr. Hip Hop. I'm going to stay seated again to remain close to the mic and my notes. Support normalized trade and diplomatic relations with Cuba. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. Corporations are common foes for regular farmers here and in Cuba. Corporations kill family farms because they're always concerned about profit growing every single quarter. And every single quarter of profit is not what's required to be a successful farmer. And so I think that would be something we would have in common and we could be friends. I learned this in 2006 when I visited the Dominican Republic, which is in the same area as Cuba. And I saw the sugar crops and the corn crops that were there and all the farmers there working. I saw those farms. I saw lots of machines. And then I saw people begging for tourists to give them anything. And so corporations killed our relationship with Cuba. And I support normalizing this and siding with we have a common foe, corporations. Watch this documentary called The Corporations, made in 2003. And you'll see why we should go on and get on the right side of history and people instead of corporations, even though they claim personally.
Thank you. All right, we're going to break it up a little bit because it's a lot of candidates and we want to incorporate our young people in asking questions. I'm going to ask the candidates to speak loud and clear, and you'll only have to say one word. Yes or no. Yes or no. Okay, so we're going to break this up and we're going to combine it. Our students are going to ask you a question, and we just need yes, no, or abstain. Okay? If you decide to abstain, we'll work that out. But as we go through these questions, we'll do this again. You may have an opportunity to go back to the questions that you had. So kind of remember your questions, remind you of your questions. But we're going to begin with our young people. Let's give them a round of applause. Candidates, please remember to speak clearly. So this is our microphone check. So the people all the way in the back will need to hear you say yes, no, or abstain.
I'm going to begin.
I'm sorry, we're going to begin with Ms. Muhammad. We'll start with candidate Muhammad.
Hello. This is on the topic of economy. Do you support federal spending as a means of promoting economic growth?
Yes.
Next question. You all can line up so we can speed through this. It's going to be our speed round. Yes, all the candidates will get a question. It will be a different question.
This is for candidate Neal. Do you support state funding, or it's on education? Do you support state funding for charter schools?
Yes.
Okay, this is for candidate Brutus. This is also on education. Is the tenure process for public school teachers producing effective teachers?
Can you repeat the question?
Is the tenure process for public school teachers producing effective teachers?
I think in some cases.
Yes, no, abstain. Yes, no, or abstain.
Are you from Creek?
Is
think the question is multi-layered. I can't answer it yes or no. I think that's
We'll call that. Sam, next question.
All right, Ms. Washington, this relates to immigration. Do you support requiring illegal immigrants to return to their country of origin before they are eligible for citizenship?
Before?
Do you want me to repeat?
No, I don't think before they attend. Repeat the question.
Do you support requiring illegal immigrants to return to their country of origin before they are eligible for citizenship?
Yes, do you support requiring illegal immigrants to return to their country of origin?
Before they citizenship?
Yes.
Yes.
Candidate Patterson. In order, this is on the topic of budget. In order to balance the budget, do you support an income tax increase on any tax bracket?
No.
This is for candidate Blake. This is on gun control. Should citizens be allowed to carry concealed guns?
No.
This is for candidate Wallace. It's on the topic of economy. Do you support the temporary extension of unemployment benefits?
No. All right, candidate Eagleton. This is related to the topic of immigration, once again. Do you support allowing illegal immigrants who are brought to the United States as minors to purchase citizenship without returning to their country of origin? Okay. Do you support allowing illegal immigrants who are brought to the United States as minors to pursue citizenship without returning to their country of origin?
Yes, I do.
Candidate Williams. This is on the topic of education. Do you support the state government providing college students with financial aid?
Yes.
This is for candidate Pickens. It's on gun control again. Should a license be required for gun possession?
Gun protection?
For gun possession.
Possession? Yes.
All right, for candidate McKinley, this is on the topic of budget. In order to balance the budget, do you support reducing Medicare spending?
No.
Candidate Jonathan, this is immigration once again. Do you support the enforcement of federal immigration law by the state and local police?
Yes.
Thank you, students. A lot of times you just want to know directly how they stand, correct?
Yes.
And so you were able to get those questions answered, yes? All right. All right, let's begin our round again. Our first round of questions came from the Will and Cook County Farm Bureau. Our next round of questions will be regarding the airport, so you may want to think about some of the things you want to say regarding the airport.
This is
The
also
first question. Candidate Victor, the state of Illinois currently uses eminent domain to forcefully take property for the proposed airport prior to final approval from the FAA and the funding source for the required infrastructure. Do you oppose or agree with that?
I just want to let you all know that the airport issue is a very difficult issue. But I will tell you, I oppose eminent domain to take your lines. I believe that we can make it. I believe that we can make this airport a win-win situation for all of us in this district, for all of us in the state of Illinois. And how can we do this? If we all believe that America is the greatest country in the world, this is one nation under God, with liberty and justice for all. We know that our brothers and sisters, a little bit north of here, don't have jobs. Most of the jobs in the district are moved away to the northwest suburbs of Chicago. Why are these jobs not here? Because a lot of these businesses do not have a means of transportation of the executives, of the people that work for them, that travels all over the country close by. I know we know that there's Midway in Chicago. Midway is too full. There is no room to expand. O'Hare, they're trying to force the expansion in O'Hare. But let me tell you something. This is what I believe. I believe that if we are going to agree to bring the airport here, I'm sorry, I wasn't doing that. But I will continue this here.
Thank you.
I disagree with the eminent domain. They're using it in Chicago right now. Ron, the Polygamous Emmanuel, just lost his mind, taking every house he can. He put $2 million, put $4 million up to seize 200 houses right there in Chicago. Chicago is the test baby for everything they're doing on you. First of all, there is jobs in Chicago. This flyer right here is the Lakeside Development. It is based on the largest development in America.
Come on, Paul, tell me.
Do you hear me? It is the largest development in America.
Go ahead.
There is no third airport. They just stealing your land. Ron Emanuel's doing the same thing in Chicago. It's a lie. Don't take it for 1 minute that that's still your land now. But it ain't got nothing to do with the airport. Right here, it's going to be 90. This is a 40-year plan. This plan is 15,000 houses. This plan is 17 million commercial, 7 commercial offices and into 13,000 residential. They're going to be able to make, just when they open it up, it's going to make every day $65 million. This is the largest development in the world. The third airport is called Gary Chicago Airport.
Let me just remind the community that your greatest power is to be able to vote. And we are not here to attack our candidates. And one of the great things about voting is they don't know who you're voting for. They don't know if you support them yet or not. So let's take the opportunity to listen to what they have to say. Make a conscious decision in your mind, but if we can refrain from any additional comments or applause while they're responding. Thank you. Kennedy Pickens.
Thank you very much. I also oppose the use of eminent domain for taking property. I think that if there is to be negotiations around a third airport, it ought to be under the rubric of there being a negotiation with the people of this town. So it would be my position that at this point I find myself neutral on the idea of an airport. I would want to hear from the people of Peotone and the surrounding area in order to understand what the dynamics are, what the issues are. But I also have to say this, the fact that this has been on the boards since 1968 and has not come to fruition says something about where we need to be at this point. We really have to look at this critically and determine whether this is the best development for this particular area of the district. So that's the position I want to take in terms of how do we go forward. Is an airport viable? If it's not viable, what needs to happen in Peotone in order to enhance the economic life of this community?
Thank you, Kennedy. Our next question. The airport was created the idea of the airport was created to have long-term sustainable jobs for people. What facts do you know that would make Peotone different? So the entire question, the question comes from Stan, and it actually says, if you support the proposed Peotone Airport to create jobs, then how do you respond to critics who contend it would be another white elephant in America? Both have created almost no long-term sustainable jobs since they opened, but facts do you know that would make Peotone different? But my question would be, what would make Peotone different in supporting or not supporting this airport? And we begin with...
Well, first of all, I would support Peotone. I have a 12-year history of understanding that smoking mirror. $100 million has been spent of taxpayers' money on this illusion of Peotone. Gary Scott, who's your third airport, has more capacity than Midway. It's environmentally friendly. There's issues of airspace. And I'm against destroying any of God's green earth. You have people in this race right now, in this room, that are saying the same thing that Jackson said. It's going to create 15,000 jobs. It would take you 50 years to have full capacity of building Peotone. I will not go against the convictions of the people in this room. It can never happen, and it must not happen. I will fight eminent domain because we don't need an airport. We need green jobs. This can be the green global capital of the world, bottom line. Anti-Peotone. Can't sell me Peotone. Won't support Peotone.
Thank you.
I guess I don't have to say much because I am of the same position. This Peotone Airport is a political boondoggle. It is a way of seeing people make money out of speculating on land and then selling it to the government for putting concrete and asphalt down that without any chance of it having viability, economic viability. That's the first reason I'm against it. We have an economic system that's broken, and there's no way that an airport can sustain itself when you have no academic, virtually no manufacturing, no academic activity going on. So why are we spending all our time on this question? There's another reason. That's valuable farmland, and it should be stayed in production of farm commodities to feed our people. And that's how I see it.
Thank you.
We're all going to sound a little bit alike here. The only job is going to create, and they aren't actually our new jobs, they'll be construction jobs. People come out and build the airport. And once it's built, you have security guards to guard it into the airport. So we don't want Peotone. I mean, it's already disrupting jobs. It's taking jobs away from farmers, taking away your land, tearing down houses. It's ridiculous. You already have jobs that have been created from farming. So we want to do this. It would be Mid-America Airport Part 2. So I'm not for it. I don't see any kind of economic viability here in the area. It's like building, I get a little special, it's like building a mall. You have no clue who's going to come and set up a store in that mall. But you're going to build it anyway and hope that somebody decides they want to come. You don't have any carriers who are willing to be a part of it. And our economy is so bad that the airline industry isn't looking to move gates anywhere anyway. So it's a whole boondoggle. It's a bad idea. We need to move on and let people farm their land. And the money that's already been spent, I say we find the people whose land they took and see if they're willing to buy it back. If they don't want it, let somebody else buy it and farm the land.
And that actually leads us to the next question. And we will begin with candidate Life. If the airport project does not pass, would you propose the land be restored to farmland or repurposed for what use?
Yeah, I guess I'd give it back to the farmers. That's it.
Okay.
What I'd like to know is that there's a lot of talk out there about the Peotone Airport. Some people say it's already federally funded. I don't know where the money's at. Some people say it's already state money, state funded. I don't know where the money's at for that. So if you people know where there's monies appropriated for the Peotone Airport, I'd like to know. Thank you.
Candidate Howard.
Well, I think I'm the only one at this table who's been fighting against Jesse Jackson Jr. as long as you guys
Been
have.
fighting against it. I fought him before.
Well, let's
You know,
let's be respectful. Thank you. Can you please start her time over? And if the candidates could please refrain from interrupting the other candidates.
I
Thank you.
take that back. I apologize. I apologize, Reverend. You are absolutely right. But this has been very frustrating. I will say as an elected official, because I was in the state senate, he was elected in 95, I was elected in 96, and I've got mayors in this room who have worked with me to make sure that if this was coming, it was controlled by the people who were in the area and the mayors. And so, again, quick take was not an answer. It's very difficult to listen to people who say they're against eminent domain, which is something, a power that the state already has. What I said and what I went to the state was that nobody should have the eminent domain powers taken upon them until the record of decision was made. But what I say now is if there is something that comes about that says, no, there will not be an airport, yes, the farmers should have first right of refusal to have their land back. But what's happening now is some of them still are renting their land back to farm, which should still continue to happen. I will stay in this fight as long as you will have me, because I'm the, other than the reverend, as an elected official, stood up, and everybody knows that, and that's why we don't have something going on, and that is why the congressman is going to jail now because of what is
Candidate Hamilton, we will not slander other people's name here. We want to answer the question and we want to move on. Thank you. Candidate Bill Washington.
Should we restore the land back to the farm? Absolutely. Absolutely. There should not even be any question about that. I think, as you've seen, you will evaluate all our answers. But I think, you know, they're not consistent answers. And so I think it still deserves conversation, at least to see. What I don't understand is why it's taken 20 years to decide. Either we decide that this is going to happen, it can happen, and all the airlines, everybody's at the table, or we don't. The reason that anybody's for it, of course, is the jobs that it produces. But if that's not going to be the case, let's move on. People need jobs right now. You all want your farmland back. I definitely think you should have it back. If we decide that's not going to be a viable alternative, it carries a better alternative, absolutely. You have the first right of refusal for your life.
Thank you. Candidate Bruce, just in lieu of knowing your stance on the airport, the question is, do you believe the post-Peotone Airport is a viable project? Why or why not?
I'm not going to hide the fact that I was a land acquisition coordinator in 2001 to 2004 and was part of the process of acquiring the first 2,000 acres before I came to the city. And don't believe for a second that those conversations that I've had with some of you in the room were easy. Perhaps one of the most difficult conversations I've ever had in my life, to decide to be part of the process of relocating your families. Being from University Park, however, looking at the big picture for this entire region, jobs are needed. We need economic stability, we need growth, we need activity, we need jobs. There are people hurting, not only in the Cook County part of this district, but out here in Will County too. I remember growing up in University Park, everybody was competing for a job at the mall. All the high school kids that went to H.S, Marian Catholic, Crete, Bloom, Ritchie, Central, South, we were all trying to get a job at the mall. There weren't no jobs. There weren't enough jobs. Now, this project, it proposes to create jobs. The question is it viable? That's the question. It's taken very long for it to get here. Honestly, it wasn't even in the 2nd district. It was in the 11th district. And I honestly felt it was disrespectful to Congressman Costello, as well as Congressman Halverson, for another congressman to propose.
We do not want to mention any other candidates.
I'm not making any personal statements, I'm talking about the facts.
Well, let's keep to the facts.
Facts are that Congressman's role in this project is to support a locally stated.
And that is your time. Thank you. Candidate Anthony Beal. The question is, do you believe the airport is a viable project? Why or why not?
I absolutely believe that it is a viable project. Being in the city council for 14 years, I have developed more land. Everybody can say I believe that it is a viable project, but at the same time, there's a way to implement the project. And I believe that the implementation of the project was done incorrectly and insensitive to the community. So when you start moving in to have a project of this size and this magnitude, you have to take into the account that you're dealing with people, you're dealing with feelings, you're dealing with upsetting households. And so you have to have a compassionate heart in order to implement a project of this size. And I don't believe that was done. So my theory, because I am a uniter, I believe everybody needs to come together. We're all not going to agree, but we all not going to disagree at the same time. I believe that there is common ground, and we need to find that common ground. And we can find a solution in order to bring hundreds of thousands of jobs to the area. So I support it, but also I support the fact that we are looking at families and that we need to take into account families and feelings. But there's middle ground, we need to find that middle ground, and we're all going to sometimes agree, but we're not going to disagree all the time, but we can do this thing together, collectively, and humanely.
Thank you.
Mohammed, Dr. Hip-Hop. Do I support the Peotone Airport? Short answer, no. I agree with this. At the most, the Peotone Airport space that has been allotted could be used to move cargo in helicopters and smaller aircraft from the farmlands to the trains to the bigger airports. What needs to happen for development instead is moving people between the colleges and universities to the urban areas. So in this district, we have 5 colleges and universities. How will students get back and forth from University Park to internships in the city without it taking forever of them getting caught up in rush hour traffic on 3 expressways? High-speed passenger rail does that. And according to the AFL-CIO, that's what I do as research. I find my sources and more than one before I quote anything. For every $1 billion spent on transportation, that creates 47,000 sustainable jobs. There's still $7 billion left in the already appropriated high-speed passenger rail program of President Obama. So, quick calculation, that's about 329,000 sustainable jobs, moving people. That equals economic growth.
Okay. Thank you. So this leads right into, you mentioned transportation, and now we're going to talk about the Ileana transportation. So please speak. I'm sorry. And is that how you pronounce it? Ileana. So that airport is a very heated topic. Please remember that we are here to represent ourselves. So if we can refrain from mentioning others in your answer, that would be greatly appreciated. Let's begin. Candidate Victor. The proposed Ileana corridor, if built, would most likely be built as a public-private partnership, P3, where the private partner could be a foreign consortium. Landowners in the proposed Ileana corridor are concerned that they would lose their family farms for a road that could be paid for with foreign funds. What is your experience with P3 developments, and do you think they are a good idea even if investment comes from a foreign entity?
I would say no. I do not support that Ileana expressway for the mere fact that we have foreign investment. The experience has shown in Chicago that once this type of investment is allowed, the cost, they turn it into a toll road, and the cost keeps going up. So eventually we keep paying for these roads over and over again. You can see that with the toll road 294. It started with about 50 cents, and now we're at about $3 per toll gate. So definitely against this. Now, one thing that I want to say is that in any type of projects, whether it's the airport or it's the road, I believe that whoever is is going to use the land need to be compensated above market value. It has to be a commercial value, not eminent domain. If we have, but because of development, because we want to develop, we cannot stay the same the way we were 10 years ago. Otherwise, we won't have I-57. But whatever we do, the farmers, the owners of the land, need to be compensated. They have to be compensated at commercial value, and so that they will get what they deserve for their lands, and then they can go and buy other lands to replace what they're losing. But I do not believe that we should just take it and kill the farmland without compensation. Thank you.
Thank you. Candidate McKinley.
First of all, my investigation from out of Chicago, all corruption come out of Chicago. The people that's buying the land is Center Point properties. They're in Chicago. They built a building on Roosevelt. I shut the whole project down. Center Point property is directly hooked up with the machine out of Chicago. Their whole thing, even this airport may end up being this airport, because it's not going to happen, may end up trying to be them giving them the land for the Atlantic Highway. From my investigation, this airport and all this stuff about jobs is all a smoke screen. I just showed you that when you hear them taking land, they're trying to take the land, they're trying to give the money to IDOT in Washington, D.C. Washington, D.C. Ray Hood quit because he didn't want to be involved in it. They're supposed to put the money in IDOT, in the Illinois Department of Transportation. Then they're supposed to give the money to the investors, to buy the land for less and take the land. It's the same process that they use in Chicago. Everything y'all going through, they use it in Chicago. It is the machine. They promise a lot of jobs. They say that they're going to do this, they promise you everything, and they deliver you nothing. And I tell you, there are members sitting right here, right now, doing the same thing. Someone ain't promised you nothing. They tell you they ain't going to give you nothing.
Thank you.
My response is that the concern I have about P3s is that it opens the door for privatization. And that means that there's less control on the local level about what happens in this kind of development. So I think one of the responses that I made already in terms of the whole Ileana project is that I'm against it. I took that position with the Sierra Club because I think that we need to think more about creating open spaces in communities and providing for the environment. And I think that one of the concerns that I've had with respect to the Ileana project is that it will take farms, it will destroy livelihoods, and it will have an impact upon the environment as well. So that's the position that I've taken in terms of the project and the future for this community.
Thank you. Next question, we begin with candidate Anthony Williams. Do you support the B3 route, which would run through the far southern agricultural area of Will County, displacing family farms and splitting farming operations? Candidate Williams.
I do not support it. Resources need to be directed to a place called Hospital Park, where they need infrastructure, where people are still using propane gas, wood burning stuff. We have people in this race that serve right now, and they have not met with the infrastructure needs of Hospital Park. I like to see a real partnership between Peotone and Penbrook in terms of developing an area. Put the resources in the right place. I'm against it. You like to ask me, if you ask me anything anymore, I'm not going to destroy anybody's life. So that's where I'm at.
Thank you. Candidate Clifford Eagleton.
I'd like to talk to the privatization of government functions.
I'm sorry, can you speak up just a little bit?
As one can imagine, I'm against this program that goes over here. And the privatization of public services totally against foreign ownership of our assets. Foreigners are coming in, buying our land, and buying our oil, buying our natural resources, and we're not even keeping track of it. What is happening in this country when foreign governments, sponsored organizations come in and take over your country? That's the issue. And these career politicians are doing absolutely nothing about it. They're not saying a word. And the campaign, in this campaign we have here, it's all about specific issues and nothing about the issue of our economy and what's happening to this country. And I'm here to support the middle class. I'm here to support the common people. I'm a common person myself, as you can see the way I talk.
I'm agree with Reverend Williams here. I think it should be in Pembroke Township, Hopkins Park. They haven't even taken a look at that though. I've got in my hands, just printed out today, Tier 1 record of decision. They've already gone through the first tier. There was 2 tiers. The first tier is already gone through. This was signed, just took off my glasses, January 17th this year. So if you're going to do something, we're going to do it quick. Because I know you don't want it here, but I know there are people in Pembroke Township who actually want it. So why don't we put it someplace where people don't want it? You need to put it someplace where people actually want it and want the development to go there. So I'm in agreement in taking another look, maybe doing another Tier 1 study and looking at moving it further south to connect 65 to 57 around Kankakee. They could use the, I think the unemployment in Kankakee is like over 14%. So economic development needs to be down there. Now, the idea of making it a toll road, we can take a look at that, because if it's a toll road, people are less likely to get off. So I'm trying to figure out a way in which we can make this a parkway or some kind of expressway where people can get off and on, and they can stop by in Hopkins Park if they want to. And we can build some infrastructure there. People can have businesses, and build hotels and restaurants, and I'm out of time.
We're talking to the residents. These were questions from the residents. And you mentioned Tier 1, and the next question for candidate John Blight will be, recently the Tier 1 phase of the Ileana corridor was completed with the preferred B3 route and the no-build option moving to the Tier 2 phase. In response to this, CMAQ, which is Chicago Metropolitan Agency for Planning, submitted a letter to IDOT implying that the B3 route is too far south, may not be financially feasible, and could induce sprawl. What is your opinion of CMAQ's letter to IDOT? Keep in mind, this is a question from the residents. Candidate Black?
Thank you. Well, if we rely on the study, and if the study wants to go through all the hurdles, then it should go through. It's only that January 17th is only the first round, and if the people seriously do not want it, they will have their way to protest it or not have it. And that's it. Let it take its course the way it's designed to be.
Thank you. Candidate Debbie Culberson.
CMAP is a function of the state. This whole process is a function of the state. Just like your current state senator who moved this process quickly and had sponsored a bill to push quick take. That's why this whole process moved so quickly. So this is new to me. I haven't been involved in the state. This whole, everything about the Ileana and CMAP and the Tier 1, 2, or 3 is all a state issue. So I hope you were involved in every public hearing that they held along the way to voice your opinion. With regards to where it went, my opinion isn't really going to push one way or another to stop it. when they pick a place, it's based on the opinions that the people in the area give. So I live in Crete. I really watched as it went through also. I thought it was going to go further north than it went. So sprawl happens wherever there's a highway. So for them to say that putting it B3 is going to increase sprawl, I would imagine sprawl would happen, you know, anywhere. So I'm just hoping that as we move this process forward, that you get involved in the process and don't wait for each step to happen and then try to stop it. So what I would do, what I would encourage everybody to do.
I'm sorry, your time is up. Candidate Joyce Washington.
We've talked consistently about making sure that you all are in the process and that we're here to hear what you have to say. I would say, again, this is 20 years in the making, and now this process has come up very quickly. I think as I talked about, you all have to be involved in that process. We represent you. We should know what your feelings are. This gives us an opportunity, even from the clapping or whatever, to know whether we're close to stand up and give our answers or whether we're not. So again, if you all have to be in that process, if it works, that's what we're saying. That's what I'm saying. If it works and it makes sense, all the principals are at the table and people have voiced their desires. We're here to help make sure that happens. If we do have to go to another site or not happen, we're here to make sure that happens. So I would again encourage, you all, wish I could say show of hands of those people who were involved in the process all the way, this new process. But I would certainly hope that you all would be involved, and we know what your feelings are, and we make sure that we represent you. Because this is all about you, our representation of you. And if you're not being represented well, you keep voting for the same people that you vote for, you'll get the same results. You may want to think about, are there some other people who will really press your cause and be there for you and represent you?
Thank you. And finally, the residents of Will and Kankakee counties would like for you to explain our last candidates, beginning with candidate Patrick Brutus. Please explain the condemnation form of quick take and tell us if you support its use to acquire land for the proposed Ileana corridor.
I do not support quick take. This is unfair to the property owners, whether they be commercial or residential. What I do support is your right to stand behind the Uniform Relocation Act that protects you as a property owner, that forces the entity trying to acquire property to give just compensation. Quick take, like Debbie Halverson just said, is something that the person who represents you actually supports. So I would consider that very strongly when making your decision about who represents you. Because these issues are state issues. I don't support quick take. Somebody else in this race does. That's going to have an adverse impact on you, and we won't stand for that. We shouldn't allow it. We should fight together to block that. But again, I must also say that you guys need to be attending these public hearings, letting your voices be heard, raising your finger when it's time to say stop, enough. Much like you have done in the past. And you successfully, to some degree, let the state know that the things that you guys don't support, you won't stand for. And so, make your voices heard. On the record, I do not support quick take. I think it's an adverse impact to our property owners.
Thank you. Candidate Anthony Beal.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the only elected official on this panel right now, you've heard a lot of things. I support quick take with exception. And let me give you that exception. I have a grocery store on 115th in Michigan that has been held up for 4 years in my community on a building that the person wants $900,000 for something that appraised at $65,000. $900,000. So, but you're holding up a grocery store that's going to bring fresh produce and fresh goods to a community that has a food desert, that doesn't have jobs. So, as a leader, sometimes you have to make tough decisions. And let me just say this, the building is abandoned. Nobody's been in it for 25 years. So am I supposed to sit back and let a building hold up from keeping jobs out of my community, from keeping fresh produce out of my community? My community has been hurt for so many years. We have the highest crime rate, the highest cancer rate, the highest diabetes rate, but yet we don't have the jobs coming into our community because we don't have the fresh produce. We have the food desert. So yes, I made a conscious decision to ask the city to take a quick take on this piece of property so I can deliver services and goods for my community. So I support it with exception. And I just want to be real clear on what that exception is.
Thank you. Finally, candidate Fatima Muhammad.
Fatima Muhammad. Do I support that use of quick take or any kind of use that I do? No. Short answer. But I do. Short answer. Okay, go ahead. It's a whole lot of multi-syllable words. Clearly, you have to trust resources. And Heritage Foundation is not a trustworthy source. It's funded by think tanks that support the Koch brothers. They're at like the top of that 1%. They fund pundits. They wind up on TV and all the channels. They wind up at universities, in the ears of the university presidents. They wind up in halls of government. So find trusted sources. And there's a whole list of the untrustworthy services and sources on Dr. Hip Hop for Congress. As far as quick take, no. Had to have an independent thinker to represent you.
Well, thank you. That ends our round of students. We're going to have them go through that quick yes or no. We're going to break it up a little bit, and at the end of their round, you will have 1 minute for closing statements. The time is now 4:15. We want to respect your time, the time of our residents. So the students will come up again and give a round of yes, no, or abstain. All right, students, if you can line up, please. And the timekeeper, they will have 1 minute for a closing statement. And after your closing statement, I will hand it back to you.
Candidate Muhammad.
I'm sorry. Let's start from this one.
This one?
Yes.
Candidate Jonathan. This is on the topic of abortion. Do you support the prohibition of public funds for abortion procedures?
No.
For candidate McKinley. It's a lifestyle question. Should marriage only be between one man and one woman?
I support the traditional families, yes.
For candidate Pickens, on the topic of health care, should individuals be required to purchase health insurance as mandated in the 2010 Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
Sir, candidate Williams has to deal with budget. In order to balance the budget, do you support reducing Medicare spending?
No.
Candidate Eagleton. This is on the topic of education. Do you support the National Common Core State Standards Initiative? I'm sorry. Do you support the National Common Core State Standards Initiative?
You can yes, no, or abstain. The question is, do you support the National Common Core Standards Initiative on education?
Yes.
Candidate Wallace. In order to balance the budget, do you support reducing defense spending?
No.
All right, for candidate Blythe, on the topic of education, should parents be allowed to use vouchers to send their children to any school?
His answer was no.
Candidate Halverson, do you support repealing the 2010 Affordable Care Act?
Yes.
unelected Washington. This is on the topic of abortion. Do you support the prohibition of public funds for organizations that perform abortions? Do you support the prohibition of public funds for organizations that perform abortions?
I'm sorry, your answer is yes, no, or abstain?
Do you support the prohibition of public funds for organizations that perform abortions?
No.
For candidate Bruce, it's on healthcare. Do you support allowing doctors to prescribe marijuana to their patients for medicinal purposes?
For medicinal purposes?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, candidate Beal, on the topic of environment, do you support the federal regulation of greenhouse gas emissions? Do you support the federal regulation of greenhouse gas emissions?
Yes. Candidate Muhammad, this has to deal with economy. Do you support providing tax incentives to businesses for the purpose of job creation?
Yes.
Students, were there any questions that you want to ask any particular candidate? If not, then we can end that way. Okay, thank you. I want to thank all the candidates. Let me publicly apologize to candidate Victor Jonathan. I had to refer to him by his first name as his last name, so I do apologize for that. No disrespect. So can we again give our candidates a hand of applause? This is your opportunity to hear the candidates. You can review all of the information. It's going to be broadcast, and Judy will give you more information regarding that. So I want to thank you all for your patience, for your kindness, and your respect during this meeting. Thank you, and Judy.
Thank you, Jacinda. I really have to say thanks to Jacinda because it's really hard to run a candidates forum to keep everything in line, and timing is such an issue since we have so many candidates and so many questions. So she does an absolutely fabulous job, and I'd like to thank Jacinda again. If you guys give her applause. I'd like to mention there were a couple other candidates who did call in detail, and Lennon McAllister, who were not able to make it today. Besides them, other candidates did not respond for whatever reason, I don't know. Also, I'd like to thank WPAL for coming out today and taping it. They will be airing this candidate forum on our local Comcast channel number 4. If you do not have that, you can go to WPALTV.com. That's WPALTV.com to watch it there. I'd also like to thank Channel 7 News for coming out today, because Channel 7 has been great at coming down here and hearing about our issues. I can say that they are the one and only channel that continues to come out when we send them information, and thank you, Channel 7, for being here today. I know there are a lot of people in this audience who know me for a really long time, and they would have loved to have gotten up and asked questions. But due to time constraints, we really need to keep to the questions we had today. We'll be asking the candidates to stay for a little while. We have the school till about 6 o'clock. You can ask them directly out there. After the primary election, which will be held Tuesday, February 26th, I would like to announce that I'd like to bring the winner from the Republican Party and the winner from the Democratic Party back here to have another forum, because that will be a whole different forum. Right now we have 17 on the Democratic side and 5 on the Republican side, so I think we need to ask them more definitive questions at that time. I'd also like to thank again my co-sponsors for helping me put this on, because without them, I would not have been able to do it. And that would be the Will County Farm Bureau, the Cook County Farm Bureau, Stan shut this airport nightmare down, John Howard, my friend from Kankakee County, County Board member. I'm Judy O'Gala, Will County Board member. It's really difficult, and then I have a lot of friends who helped with the entrance table. I'd like to thank the candidates, because you guys coming here today lets everybody know in this room and who will be watching that you actually care and are concerned about hearing what they have to say, and I think that's really good. I know it's hard as a candidate, you've been a candidate, you've got a lot all over the world, and you're exhausted almost all the time, so thank you guys for coming today. Most importantly, I'd like to thank every one of you who's out in the audience who gave up your time to come here. I hope you heard a lot of interesting information that you'll take back to your friends. Write a letter to the editor about somebody you like or somebody you didn't like, whatever. Spread the word. Let everybody know via your email that they can go to WPALTV and watch this, that they can watch it on Channel 4, and then Channel 7 will be having some of this information. I hope that we have some news reporters in here today taking notes as well, so maybe your local papers will have some information. I want to thank again the Peotone FFA students who came out and did us the honor of presenting the flags. And Rebecca James, who took time to write us such an informative, heartfelt message about the importance of agriculture. And while I do believe that we do need to move forward in certain areas and progress is important, I really get angry with the fact that I am the Vice President of STAN, which has shut this airport nightmare down. I am on the Governmental Affairs Policy Committee for the Will County Farm Bureau. So I have done what I've done to bring my issues forward to represent the people who elected me to office. So some of you here today have been in the city and look upon us out here as farmers and think there's a lot of land. Well, my opinion is this. We need to do smart development. We can't do something that's been on the books for 20 years, because the airport's been on the books for 20 years, and if it was a viable issue, I believe that airport would be built today. So I want to represent all the farmers out there who stand in the way of any development, because after all, it's our land. We own it, and we farm it. Industry is just as important as any other industry. And that a lot of times you forget that because you see a farmer and he walks into a restaurant and he looks like a mess. Yeah, he does. Yeah, he does. He's been on his tractor, he's been crawling under a combine, and whatever he's doing, milking his cows, he is a mess. Because you cannot do that in a suit. Well, I guess you could. But it just really doesn't work that well. So I think that we need to think about it. I grew up in Chicago. I lived there for the first 16 and a half years of my life at Irving and Kedzie. I was a big Cubs fan and grew up there. And then I moved out to the suburbs and I lived in Bensonville by O'Hare. So I know what it's like to live there in Airport. I understand what it does. And then my husband and I moved to a small suburban Park Forest, which was a really cool, unique area to live in because it's a small community and I could walk to the mall at the time and go shopping and go to the health club, and I like that. And now, since 1985, we built our home on our family farm. And our farm is something that helps provide us with income and gives a great learning base for my 3 children. And farming is extremely important, and we need to continue to look at that and say, what are we going to do about the future? Should we go into these communities where there are brownfields today, like Harvey and Dixmoor and Posen? I worked in Harvey, 151st and Halsted at Alice Chalmers. I know what it's like up there. And I don't believe that any development down here will provide jobs up there. But I do believe that we can do things in our area, and that's why John and I have hooked up together, because I believe that if development needs to be done, we need to look at an area that is really, really downtrodden, such as Hopkins Park. Those people down there have a lot of really bad situations to deal with on a daily basis. So farming development is important for sustainable agriculture and things like that, where we can take it forward. But I want to just caution you guys, you can't look at every piece of open land and say it's vacant. You can't use Jesse Jackson's term, we're nothing but a bunch of tumbleweeds. We really need to think about the future of our children, because our kids sitting right here today, and I really got to thank these guys so much for coming out, being your page for the day, taking their time out, and the students who read all the different questions. Their involvement means a lot because they're our future. And we need to plan for this future. We need to plan for their future, and part of that is making sure agriculture remains, and we get our farming here, our food from the United States because we produce safe products. So once again, thank you to the Peotone High School who allowed us to use this great facility and set it up for us, and our students and our candidates. And please, everybody, I hope you'll be able to talk with them out in the account. Thank you.
Is he? Yeah.